Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little while since I've done a video here out in the rural gardens. I've been so busy, crazy time of the year for us. But I was thinking today, I was like, man, I need to get back out here in the garden and showcase a few things that are still looking really good out in the garden here. So a lot of times you get into those summer months and things have kind of passed that peak spring crazy color, and things start to kind of just fade in and fade out. But there's a lot of cultivars that are really still looking great right now, and I wanted to showcase some of those just to give you guys a little bit of just more information about what's really going to look nice in those summer months in your garden. So come check them out. Appreciate you coming along. All right, first one on the list, I figured I'd come in strong with this one right here. We got Acer palmatum snow kitten, also known as Yukiyama. There's a lot of different kind of names for this one out in the trade, but snow kitten, I believe, is what has kind of been settled on this cultivar. But man, this thing is absolutely insane. It's got the craziest white variegation I've ever seen on a maple, let alone this being a Makawa variety. So this is a seedling from Makawa Yatsubusa that was grafted and cultivated. This thing is absolutely amazing. I'll try to zoom in here. The colors on this are still really vibrant. This is getting into, we're kind of in the ending at the first week of June. So really nice colors. Now I've got this in a pretty shady spot here up on the porch. It's not underneath the porch, but it's underneath a high canopy of shade of a couple of native maples here in this area. Now they're the big maples, not Japanese maples, but so this thing gets a lot of shade, and I think it really appreciates that, and it just really enhances the colors on this. Man, this thing leafed out, and I was really excited because it was just almost pure white. Starting to get a little bit more of those greens throughout, but that's pretty typical, especially this time of the year. But I mean, this thing is really looking nice. Definitely highly recommend this cultivar. Now, this one is on a high graft, and I know a lot of people may not like the high graft look to it, but I can tell you it's for a reason. Talon Buckholtz is the one that grafted this, and he believes that getting it on a rootstock in a high graft gives it better airflow, and it gives it a better overall life support. And if you look at that trunk on it, it's nice, thick, healthy root system and rootstock to really provide a lot of energy and strength to this graft. Because this, being so highly variegated, it's going to be a little bit weaker of a plant in general. But giving it that big rootstock system with the nice root ball is definitely helping this plant overall, I believe. But I wanted to kind of just showcase this because here it is in June, and this thing is still just rocking these crazy white variegated colors. Absolutely phenomenal. All right, here we go. Coming in hot on this second one here. This is a really cool newer cultivar called Acer palmatum Diva. Now this is an introduction by Talon Buchholz, and it's kind of one of the latest, greatest, like Sumagaki type. It's got the red tipped on the leaves. Now, one of the reasons why I picked this one to talk about it is that even though here it is in June, it may not come across exactly on the camera, but there's still some really nice kind of reddish pink hues on those tips, on the outer edges of the lobes. And a lot of those particular cultivars will fade quite a bit. And this is definitely faded a lot compared to what it looks like when it first leaves out. But I like the fact that even here in June, you're still getting some color variation on this with that kind of pink, light pink to red border on the leaf. And I like the leaf style on this too. It's really, really nice. Just there's something about just the overall leaf shape. I love how it's got these little like eyelet holes here in between the lobes. Really interesting foliage on that. And really strong grower too. I like that about Diva. This thing gets out there pretty quick. You're talking about a foot of growth a year, 10 foot in 10 years. Really strong structurally as well. I like about that. Seems to, put some girth on that trunk pretty quickly. This was a 1 gallon size here. And as you can tell, I mean, it's just really good size, good structure on it. I think this cultivar is going to gain more and more in popularity. Now the spring color on this thing is intense. This is probably one of the, like I said, this is the cutting edge of that red border with the larger leaf. Really, really exciting cultivar, I think, and one that I wanted to bring more attention to. Acer palmatum Diva. Very, very nice cultivar. One that I'm really glad to have in my collection here in the garden. Fall colors on this range quite a bit. I've seen yellow, oranges, and reds. I mean, this thing really goes through some really nice fall color transitions as well. So overall, just an outstanding cultivar. And I think even here in the summer month, as we begin, getting into the summer, it still catches my attention. It still has such a really nice, just elegant look to it. Really cool little pink highlights throughout, and great leaf shape on that. So one that I had to include here on the kind of the summer interest Japanese maples in my garden. All right, so moving on to the next one here. This is a really, really cool dwarf Japanese maple. This is Acer palmatum Livy. Now, think of this kind of in that red upright realm, but this is going to stay very, very dwarf variety. And it's not into that like shape as far as like a Rhode Island red or something like that. It's got a little bit different, more tree structure to it. And love this cultivar. Really, really nice red colors right now here in June. Just probably one of the best reds in my garden right now. I mean, there's a lot, I've got a lot of them, but this one really just kind of draws me in and really stands out. I really like the red stems that come out to the leaf. It just kind of gives an interesting highlight of color that just sets itself apart a little bit. Really, really bright red stems. Like that about it. Super compact shape on this. Really nice structure. And going to give you some crimson reds in the fall as well. So, you know, if you're needing a splash of red color, you know, that's kind of, maybe you got a lot of greens that are getting a little bit lost and you need some contrast, Acer palmatum Livy will definitely provide that for you out in your garden. Love this cultivar. All right, moving right along. I've got another red that I wanted to talk about. This thing is awesome, and I've got a huge size, especially for this cultivar. This is Acer palmatum Elizabeth. Now, this is a dwarf witch's broom, and this thing has been staked and grown like crazy. So I've got one that's nearly 7 foot tall, which is very uncommon for this particular cultivar. But that's kind of one of the things that drew me in to pick this particular one because it had a really unique shape. And I just can't wait to see that thing fill out and just be this kind of pillar of amazing colors. Now, this thing, when it leaves out, is a bright cherry red. And then as the summer begins to transition, you can see here that, you know, it's got some greens that kind of start to come through on that leaf, but then the pinks and reds and everything else with it really creates a nice contrast in color. Really excited to add this one. This is one that I added just recently, and really excited to have one in my garden. Now, cool little fact here, the Elizabeth was one that I had in Oklahoma, and it was one that reminded me and made me think of my mother. Her middle name was Elizabeth, and she's no longer with me, but was a tree that I enjoyed having because it reminded me of her, and I wanted to get another one here in my garden in North Carolina. So I've got it planted out here by the gazebo, so as I'm sitting here, I can have that memory of my sweet mother. So I really do enjoy this cultivar a lot. I had the smaller one in Oklahoma in a pot, had it up by the porch. Now I've got this one here that's just staked up like crazy. It's huge, man. This thing's like 7 foot tall, but I love that about it. I can't wait to watch it fill out and grow here in my garden. So I'm excited to have Acer palmatum Elizabeth, another one that I wanted to showcase to show here in summer, beginning of summer in June. It's still got some really nice colors going on. So, you know, it's something that if you're looking to have kind of a summer interest, Japanese maple, this definitely fits the bill. So, Acer palmatum Elizabeth. All right, moving on to the next one here. Wanted to get away from some of the reds and get into some greens. So with this cultivar right here, this is Acer palmatum Summer Gold. Now, this thing is absolutely amazing. Now, I'm growing this in full sun here in Western North Carolina. So it's a little bit more forgiving for me here. But this thing is really putting on some crazy colors. And as you can see, it's just this crazy yellow, lime green, yellow, and then pinks to reds, kind of on the border of some of these leaves. The new growth is starting to come out here. Nice little pink color on that. This is a great cultivar because it brightens up some of those spaces, you know, when you just have kind of, when things just get turned to that basic green color. This is a splash of golden yellows and lime greens. Really creates a beautiful contrast out in the garden. Now this thing also gets some great fall colors too. I've seen this with some like bright oranges to reds and pinks. So really nice fall colors on this too. And one that I think is a summer Japanese maple. I always think of this cultivar when somebody says, man, I want something that's really got some bright colors, even in summer. Summer Gold is definitely that cultivar. Really love the leaf shape on this as well. Now this is kind of a companion seedling to like Jordan, which is the Shirasawanum, and then Summer Gold is the Palmatum. But they have a lot of similarities, but I think that, you know, a pretty consensus that Summer Gold is better sun tolerant of those two. And as you can see, not really any burn on these leaves, and this is planted in full sun here in my garden. So if you're looking for a splash of just golden yellows, lime greens, and great fall color and spring, you know, if you're looking for that full, you know, summer Japanese maple, absolutely Summer Gold is the way to go. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this short little video, just kind of highlighting some Japanese maples that really perform well even in the summer. So I'll kind of keep this going over the next few weeks and months here in the summer to try to give you guys a little bit more insight onto what Japanese maples really perform and give some crazy colors even in the summer months. I know most Japanese maples perform just amazing in the spring, and then they also are very known for their fall color. But sometimes there's certain cultivars that just go crazy in the summer, and I wanted to give you guys a heads up on what those are and kind of show you here what I've got going on in my garden. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I really get excited to share the garden out here with you guys. I got so many crazy plants out here. I love sharing these with you, and appreciate everybody coming along. It's really cool to chat with everybody in the comment section. So leave me a comment, give me a shout out, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll keep these videos going here in the summer months to try to showcase some amazing Japanese maples. Till next time, take care.